My name is Bond.
James Bond.
Shaken, not stunned.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
I'm now aiming precisely at your groin.
That's not funny, 007.
For England, James? No.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Enter the BondVerse. I'm one of your hosts, Nathan. I'm joined by the amazing, the immaculate, the editor extraordinaire, YouTube writer, all-round general talent. It's Kyle.
You're very good at hyping me up. Hello, I'm Kyle. I always just say wonderful co-host. I don't have all these qualifiers.
You can see who thinks higher of the other audience. Kyle, it's a new dawn.
It's a new day. Light.
For us. And we're feeling pretty good about it.
We're feeling pretty good. This is James Bond number 4.
Number 4, we're Bond 4, though we're on the 15th film. 16th film, if we include Never Say Never Again. And
we're on at this point a nearly 30-year streak of a Bond film every couple of years.
Yeah, that's going to slow down.
Which is insanely impressive. Yes.
But we've got a new Bond, and this, my dear listener, is Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton.
What a guy.
What a guy. So I think I said this last week. This is The Living Daylights, by the way, 1987.
Yep, The Living Daylights, 1987. This
is the Bond that I know the least about. I mean, I guess I didn't know much about Lazenby going in either, but that's to be expected.
He done one.
He did one, yeah. This Bond did two. Bond of the 80s, Timothy Dalton. I liked this movie, Nathan. I don't know what you thought about it, but I actually thought this was one of the stronger ones we've watched, which caught me by surprise because I had no expectations going in.
I think the film is 2/3 quite good.
Okay.
I think it kind of goes off the rails a little bit in the second half, but it's fine. I don't hate this film. They successfully kind of shake up the tone.
Yes.
This
something I want
Bond
to talk
feels
about.
like he would have done a good For Your Eyes Only.
Yes. Okay. We talked about this before, but you say, Sean Connery, he played it as a killer, and then Roger Moore played it as a lover, right? That was his comment.
Yeah.
I would say that Timothy Dalton plays James Bond like a professional. That would be that's my main read on Timothy Dalton as James Bond.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would understand this. This is the first Bond actor, I think, where I'd seen him in other stuff before seeing him as James Bond.
Right, yeah. The villain in Hot Fuzz, yeah.
Yeah, so he's the head of the Summerfield supermarket in Hot Fuzz.
Yep.
He's got a portrait of himself smiling in his office. He's also Rassilon in Doctor Who.
Yeah, he shows up for 5 seconds in a time portal, yeah.
Yeah, which is very, very big of him. The only Bond to be in Doctor Who, you know? So I was already familiar with the works of Dalton prior to watching his era of Bond.
Yes, I would say Timothy Dalton, I'm usually familiar with him playing villains. He has a very sort of villainous vibe to him, Timothy Dalton.
Yes, he does. He always looks a bit sinister.
I think in The Rocketeer he plays the evil Nazi man, right?
Timothy Dalton looks like he'd play a very good Nazi.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing with Timothy Dalton is he could play a Bond villain. He really could.
Yeah. Is this the first Bond that could have played the villain just as easily?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't buy Roger Moore as a Bond villain.
No, I know. I'd buy maybe one of the camper ones, but nah. Whereas this guy he could be the villain of the piece.
I was thinking, if they were casting a new Lord of the Rings today, I think that Timothy Dalton could be an interesting Saruman.
Really?
Yeah, he just has that sort of elegant evil vibe, you know? He's got the voice. He's got that sort of commanding voice.
This is a Bond that you would follow into battle and not be worried that he's on a weird suicide mission where you know he's the main character.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what I mean. Sean Connery, obviously, we say he's a killer, but Sean Connery always, is having fun when he's murdering people.
Yeah, he knew he was a movie star.
Yeah. For Timothy Dalton, he's playing it as if, this is just his job. There's nothing personal. This is just what he has to do.
Quips are down to an absolute minimum.
Yeah, when he does quips, it almost feels out of character for this Bond.
Yeah, exactly. He does a good gun barrel, though. I'll say that for him.
It does do a good gun barrel, yeah.
Really like it. But this is the energy we needed. This is no more Gramps Bond.
Yeah, this is young and sexy Bond again.
So-
or I assume he's in his like mid-30s, but you know.
So what I would say about how the Bond franchise is typically treated is that up until Daniel Craig, apparently it's all supposed to be the same guy in the same timeline.
Yes,
I
it doesn't
can-
make sense.
Yeah, I can vaguely buy that
All the way
Connery...
up to end of Moore.
Yeah, all the way up to the end of Moore. Connery, Lazenby and Moore are vaguely supposed to be the same dude.
Yeah. This is not the same dude.
I can buy this as Pierce Brosnan's Bond.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Well, it's complicated because we do still have some bleed over characters. Like we immediately
Yes.
meet up with M, and it's the same M from
It's
the
the
previous
Admiral.
few movies.
Yeah,
Yep.
General Gaulle has a little cameo.
General Gaulle has his cameo. Obviously, Q's the same.
Obviously, yeah, Desmond Llewellyn is a remain. But I'm kind of, ever since I've been just a wee whippersnapper, my impression of Bond was that it was just the actor that changed, and you only kind of changed an actor when you needed to. Apart from that, it was always a new continuity if the Bond changed. But apart from that, everything else could just kind of be a soft reboot, and we keep the same characters.
Yeah. The thing with this one is, that Timothy Dalton is noticeably younger than Roger Moore.
Yeah, and better for it in my opinion. God, he looks good.
Yes, no, I agree. Yeah. But yeah, we have a cold open that doesn't really have anything to do with the rest of the movie. It's just like a fun action sequence.
Is it not related? I thought one of these assassins were working for the bad guy.
Maybe they are. I don't know what their plan was though. So Bond is at some sort of like training simulation with a couple of other 00
In
agents.
Gibraltar.
In Gibraltar, they're dropping down. Has his office set up in like the cargo hold of a plane, and when it opens, all his papers fly away. It's like this is a bit silly.
This is the campus part of the film.
Yeah. But yeah, they drop down, and there's like guards, and the other 00s, they suck. No wonder they're always getting killed off because they get caught instantly.
Yeah, absolutely. They are pretty pathetic 00 agents, but like they're all very offensively British militarymen.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
it, chum.
That's it, chum. You're
out
out of it.
Game's up, mate. You're dead. And they all just kind of in good spirits, just kind of take the red paintball that they've been shot with and just walk off.
Yep.
But then there's one guy he doesn't take that he's been shot with red paint. He's going to create paint from your body, you know?
Yes, he has a real gun. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a real gun, and he's dressed in black, you know, so we think he's one of the 00s. But he's killing people, Kyle.
Yeah, so one of the 00s is like, he landed up on a cliff, so he's trying to climb up. And this guy, he comes down and he puts a little thing, like a little message down the rope, and then cuts it. So the 00, what was it? We learn later which 00 this was. 002, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, 004. 004 gets killed.
Yeah. That's
So
after
another
the
00 for
opening
the pile.
call. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
004. And we also got a reference to 008 after that as well.
Yes.
This is a movie for 00s.
Yeah. Well, not so much, because 004 dies like a bitch. You're really doing MI6 service there, mate.
Yeah, because M is saying like he's honoured that the 00 agents have been chosen to be part of this training exercise. Like it shows that we're still relevant. Like this is a big deal for us. And then they immediately just eat shit.
Yeah.
Apart from Bond.
I mean, Bond does also get hit by the pink paint at some point, but at that point he just ignores it because there's bigger shit going on.
He's running directly hell for leather at a British soldier to jump on the jeep of a car driving away. Yeah, that's not incompetence. That's just, I'm not playing your games anymore.
Yeah, it's like, hang on, mate, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, important, as they're chasing the sheep, they do the Bond theme, but it's like an 80s mix of the Bond theme with synths under it.
I really like the Bond theme, because I probably bitched about it more in the Connery era, but I always thought just sometimes they would just play a really, like...
Well, that's because in the early Connery movies, they would play it as he's, like, walking out of the airport.
Yeah, but even in, like, You Only Live Twice, when he's, like, flying around in the helicopter, I just always found it was... They're just playing it for the sake of playing over an action sequence. It just didn't really feel like it fit. Here it just fits. I don't know, it's like a ramping up sort of intensity as a cold open. I'm fine with the Bond theme just playing in the middle of an action sequence.
Yeah.
It's not grand, it's suspenseful, whereas I think in Connery it was always played for grandeur, you know?
good action scenes in this movie. Also,
Yeah.
it's a very 80s action movie, but I think it works.
Dalton looks great riding atop the roof of this Jeep with all the explosives in the back that only
Yeah, he's got like the black tactical turtleneck thing going on.
Yeah, exactly. We crash this Jeep off the edge of like a cliff face, and Bond is able to he has a second parachute on. And he's able to sort of activate the parachute and shoot out through the back of the Jeep as it's crashing into the water beneath, and the assassin dies and Bond just parachutes up into the sky. I think it's a great escape.
Well, it's not quite a clean escape because the Jeep explodes and it kind of damages his parachute, but it's fine because there's a friendly cruise ship passing by.
A private
and there's
yacht.
a lady on it that it's so boring around here, all these fake men. If only she could find a real man, Nathan.
And Bond walks up the stairs of her private yacht, a little bit singed but in good condition, takes the phone and says, she'll call you back. And he needs to call, like, HQ to be like, shit's gone awry.
It's good. It's a good introduction to a new Bond.
He gives the most unfussed James Bond line delivery ever. She's like, who are you? He's like, Bond, James Bond.
No, that's why I say that's why I really like Dalton's performance. He plays it like a professional. It's like, I've got business. My name's Bond. I've got to make this call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's not here for the audience. Yeah. And then we bleed into The Living Daylights, the song, the intro by Aha.
Good song. I like this one.
I listened to this song probably equally about as much as I listened to View to a Kill. Maybe a little bit less.
I just think this is a much cleaner song than a View to a Kill.
I mean,
sure.
We will fight for the end of time. You're wrong about that. But
fine.
But the Living Daylights is a good song. We like The Living Daylights. Aha done a very good job here. I'm not sold in the visuals as much as I was.
Nah, the visuals are a bit indistinct. I can't even like fully remember them at this point.
Some of them
I
are just like
a few years ago.
Pictures of like women holding guns and just sort of aiming them at like diagonal angles, but they're not like in like a weirdly lit studio. They're just shot very matter of factly.
There's nothing like thematically relevant about the intro at all. It's just like naked women dancing about. You know,
hardly even naked. I think
shit.
they're in dresses, but yeah.
Yeah.
I also noticed, Kyle, by the way, this is the first time Barbara Broccoli has been upgraded to the position of a producer in this film. She's an associate
up and
producer.
comer.
Yeah. Previously, she worked in the last couple of Moore movies, Octopussy and View to a Kill. She was an assistant director, which is interesting. Okay. But now that she's clearly been brought in from like helping out movie to movie into some sort of like Broccoli institution level, like overseeing directors. Because she's an associate producer.
God, but it's bloody nepotism, Nathan.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, it is. So that's what the Bond franchise is.
Yeah. It's true.
And Barbara Broccoli is a name that we should probably get used to because she will become bigger and bigger looming over this franchise. Cubby Broccoli is still around.
We're currently still in the Cubby Broccoli era right now.
Yep, but get used to Barbara. Babs is going to be about for the long haul. I needed to mention it here.
Yeah. No. Relevant, very relevant. But we cut to Czechoslovakia, a country that does not exist anymore.
F in the chat to Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. I don't know which part Vienna is in. I think that's in Czech Republic, right?
Much to my shame, I don't know.
I could be talking totally at my ass, but we're in Vienna.
Yep, we are in Vienna. We meet Saunders, head of section V, sorry.
Head of Section V, which I don't know if that's like Q branch. If it's V branch,
I think it's a V for Vienna.
Okay, it's just Saunders, head of Section V, which is how he's written in my notes every single time.
Yeah, hello Saunders, head of Section V, Vienna. Yeah, he's a real ass. He doesn't like Bond.
Yeah, he doesn't like Bond.
Like he's got all this animosity to Bond, even though Bond's literally here to help him.
Yeah. Some of this movie is a little bit convoluted, but yeah, they're here because they have a mission that there's this Russian general who's defecting from the USSR. And
a General Koskov.
Is it not General Georgy Kovkov or something like that? Yeah.
He's got a first name, but I just always refer to him as Koskov.
I have in my notes as Georgie, so...
Georgie's kind of what they refer to him as later.
He's defecting, and he specifically requested James Bond to cover his escape because he thinks that the Russians are going to try and kill him.
Yep. Specifically asked for Bond because he thinks he's a bloody good shot, and Saunders is like, I don't know what you're up to, Bond, but this is my mission, you know? Basically, he's like, I get the glory, you get fuck all. Like, he's just annoyed that Bond was asked for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
This
Saunders,
is all
head
in,
of Section
like,
V. He's a very proud man.
yeah, he is a very proud man. This is all happening at the opera. And
Yes,
there's a cellist.
Well, I don't know if
Bond
it's
notes.
it's not the opera. It's like a orchestra. Yeah.
Orchestra. Yeah, there's a cellist that Bond notes and goes, "Oh, pretty lady," and Saunders, head of Section V, is like just saying,
Forget the ladies for once, Miss Bond.
Now it turns out he's got a good eye because cellist is actually quite crucial to the plot.
Yes, indeed.
But as they leave and they go to a room, a building across the street, and they're like, right, we're going to set up sniper positions here, blah blah blah.
And they're in a communist country because there's a big picture of Karl Marx on the wall next
And
to a big
Lenin.
picture of Lenin.
Yeah. In case you didn't know that this was pre the destruction of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, subtle set design.
Yeah, subtle set design indeed. But as Bond is taking up sniper positions, Koskov goes into the bathroom at the venue and then proceeds to flush the toilet and climb up and out of a window, because that's the thing you can do. And then when he is on the way across the street, the cellist from the recital is now above the main entrance with a sniper rifle overlooking.
Yeah.
And at this point, I know there's a twist here, but like at this point, I'm like, why would she be in a position to do this? Why would she have thought, oh, this is where he's going to make a break for it? I don't even know why Koskov would assume that they would be onto him anyway. The film doesn't really give us much to work on for that.
Well, I mean, we do learn what's going on later, and it does all make sense.
Yes, I know. But Saunders, head of Section V, says, like, kill the sniper, Bond, take the bloody shot, as it were. And he takes the shot, but shoots the rifle to sort of like dislodge the shooter back without actually killing her. And that pisses Saunders off because he's the head of Section V, because he's a bloodthirsty hound,
But Bond says he kills professionals, and that clearly wasn't a professional. So
yeah, exactly. So we've got Koskov, and he's very, grateful, and we're getting him out via a pipeline because the other way of getting him out wasn't practical.
Bond is like, Saunders, head of Section V, your escape plan is shit. We're doing my escape plan now.
Yeah, like I've got all this like shit in place that like I will get us out efficiently. You will kill us.
So he takes him to like an oil pipeline. He has a contact there. I think her name is Linda. Like a lady comes up and says, "Good to work with you again, Bond."
Yeah, she's a simply massive chest, which is like one of the first things I noticed.
well, it comes back later, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes back later on. Yeah, so we get taken past a supervisor office and up into like a maintenance room for pipes where you send like survey equipment down them. And Q is here. Oh, no, he's not here yet.
Q is here, yes.
He's not here yet. Sorry,
No,
he's here
Q's on
at
the other
exit,
end, yeah.
And they've been able to retrofit one of the surveying devices to like hold a person, and you need to put in,
like a little escape pod. Yeah.
You need to put in like a breathing apparatus and all that, but like you can do it. And they're like, this takes you like into the west, and we'll get you out this way. And he's not really about it. He's like, oh, has this ever been tried before? And Bond's like, you'll be the first.
Yeah.
And
then he shoves him in and closes the door. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So away he goes.
But see, as they launch this, it's gonna cause a bunch of like blips and alarms in the supervisor office.
Yes,
so
it is.
someone needs to distract the supervisor.
So our Czech oil supervisor that works with Bond is going to go and give him a bit of a smothering.
Yeah, she undoes her hair, she opens her jacket, and then just shoves his face into her boobs, is what happens.
Yeah, and then after the encounter is over, she goes, "I'm not that kind of woman," and leaves this poor supervisor shaken, definitely not stirred.
Now, Nathan, in 1987, this is a funny joke. I think in 2025 we call this sexual assault.
This is sexual assault. I think that this Czech supervisor should be firing her and pulling her up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is inappropriate workplace behaviour is what this is.
Absolutely, Kel. I completely agree with you. Well, Koskov makes it across the border, sort of bashing around the pipe, and Bonds and Saunders, head of Section V, are in like a car at the same time. And they just hear through the pipeline that's next to the road, like a lot of banging going on, and they pass over, and then they put their passports through. And Koskov gets there, and Q's waiting for him.
Yep, good old Q.
Yeah, good old Q. And he's like, "Oh, hello, we've got like a VTOL jet here to take you back to Britain." or something.
Yes.
And it was vertical takeoff.
Yeah, very exciting in the 80s, I assume.
Very exciting in the 80s. I always just attribute vertical takeoff jets with Saints Row the Third.
It's that, or it's a Call of Duty where you call in the VTOL.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. For me, it's always Saints Row the Third. Yeah, so we end up back in... Where are we, Kyle? Do we go to London immediately? Because I have in my notes here that Bond's shot would have scared the living daylights out of her, but I can't remember where that comes up.
I think he says that to Saunders when he's talking about things, yeah.
Head of Section V.
Head of Section V, of course, yeah. Based on my notes, I think we then cut to Q Branch.
Yes, we definitely do end up in Q Branch, because we got a fun list of female KGB assassins with exploding teddy bears, and one that's a bit of a sex maniac.
Yep. And important to note, we have a new Moneypenny.
We do.
She found the Fountain of Youth.
We do have a new Miss Moneypenny, and I hate her.
No, she's not good. She's like... I don't think she's a very good actress, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I did look at her filmography. She doesn't have a storied career.
Yeah, she's just very flat line delivery. The flirting does not work. The bands are off.
Caroline Bliss is the actress's name. We do see her again in License to Kill. She is going to be returning, but she's only in the two.
Yeah.
By the way, her only notable credits are these two Bonds. Her acting credits are very, very brief.
I'm not surprised. It kind of seems like she was hired because she was an attractive lady and not because she was a particularly good actress.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of how I'm reading it as well. She's only 63 years old, so she's still definitely alive today, but she's out of the spotlight, as it were.
Anyway, what's more important is Q, as we get some Q gadgets, and we get one Q gadget in this scene, which is he invented a big 80s boombox for the Americans, which fires a rocket launcher.
Okay. You're not giving it its due.
No, I was building up to that.
Okay, right. Okay, you can continue.
Because Q says, it's a little thing for the Americans. I call it a ghetto blaster. Great work, Q.
Which is just some real racist shit.
That's what you call those.
Is it?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a phrase for the big boombox on the shoulders.
They call it a ghetto blaster?
I've definitely heard that called a ghetto blaster before. Yeah, Q's making a joke.
Is he? Right, I thought he was being racist. Okay. I thought it was like, this is our device to be taken to black people's homes, you know? Because they live in ghettos and they listen to loud music. No. I thought it was racial stereotyping. Okay.
No, that is a term. That is an actual term.
I'm sorry, Colonel Boothroyd. I apologise.
Anyway, then we cut to they have a safe house for the Russian general in the British countryside somewhere.
It's a big manor estate with horses.
Yes.
And the milkman.
And a milkman, yes.
Who's very relevant.
But yeah, the characterization of General Koskov, Georgie, he's a very strange person, a very strange man.
Yes,
he's a big baby.
Yeah, he's...
Because, Bond brings him, a basket full of, Russian food and stuff, and he's like, ooh,
caviar
good
and vodka.
Ooh,
yeah,
wine.
He's like,
yes.
I couldn't survive here another minute with this shit. Yeah.
There's a moment where he, takes his shoe off and is gesturing with his shoe, because he's explaining, why he defected, basically.
Yes, he is.
Because this other Russian General Pushkin, he says, is up to no good.
General Pushkin, yes, he is the replacement for our good friend General Gogol, who's now entered the Foreign Service.
Yes.
Yes. This is General Leonid Pushkin, who we'll find out later on who he's played by.
Yes, but he has some history. Bond has, crossed paths with this guy before.
Yes, he has.
In the business. But yeah, so... he's up to... I can't remember exactly what they say his evil scheme is. Something that will destroy Britain, I think.
Basically, I think that he's just like a hardballer KGB guy. He just believes in Russian dominance. He doesn't really have an overarching evil plan. It's just Russians are bad.
Yeah, I think he frames him for the murder of 004. I think that's when that comes up.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. Oh, it is, yeah. That was 004 that died, and then because Bond apparently is too close to it, he's going to call in M's going to call in 008 from Hong Kong, who doesn't have a relationship with Pushkin like Bond does.
Yeah, well, before that, we do get the milkman, which I think this is another super fun action sequence. So the milkman is taken out by like a KGB agent, like a big blonde model-looking guy.
This guy is Necros, is the character name.
Necros is his name. Yes, he's the goon.
He's
movie.
a Star Trek villain if ever I heard one.
Necros sounds like a freaking Dungeons and Dragons villain.
I think it sounds like Shinzon. I think he belongs in like the Riemann. Now, this actor is a West German actor, Kyle. His name is Andreas Wininwitsky. God knows how I'm meant to pronounce that. I apologise. You can find him in various other credits, Kyle, such as the first Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise, and he's one of Hans Gruber's henchmen, Tony, in Die Hard.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I like how this action sequence, because he busted basically like the Terminator, but dressed as a milkman. It's incredible. I love all the spy stuff. Like he picks up like the head of security guy comes and gives it a fair old go at trying to take this guy down. You got to give it to the head of security.
Oh yeah. He ain't no slapper, you know.
But not that he gets his face shoved into a grill, so it doesn't work out. But then he picks up the radio and in a perfect English accent is like, "Oh, there's a gas leak. Everyone has to evacuate the building."
Yeah, he's like, red alert, get out. And that causes chaos.
Yeah, and then particularly amazing, he has milk bottle grenades. Incredible stuff.
This is the best Bond gadget ever.
I don't know if I assume he just has like grenades stuffed into the milk, or maybe it's like actually like some sort of explosive chemical. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, he throws
He's definitely
throws the milk bottles and they explode
he
like
is in a
grenades.
much camper movie than Timothy Dalton.
But he's playing it seriously.
Yeah, he is playing it very seriously.
That's why I say he has like Terminator energy in the scene.
Yeah, absolutely. We should note round about here, we get just before we need to evacuate, we get shown like a debrief file of General Pushkin, and we find out like what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
He's John Rhys Davies.
It's John Rhys Davies is in this movie.
Fun Welsh actor.
This is what he was doing between Indiana Jones movies.
This is what he was doing between Indiana Jones movies, and I think that his accent is just awful in this.
Oh, it's a very classic Hollywood Russian accent, where it's, I will do something vaguely Russian.
No, the problem is, though, he's so Welsh. John Rhys Davies is just so Welsh, the Russian accent barely appears. I just like, oh, this is a Welshman, an evil Welshman. That's what we're fighting here. Yeah.
I think he sounds vaguely Russian.
Vaguely Russian, but I just hear the Welsh accent very powerful coming through him. Now, people will know John Rhys Davies from many things, Kyle, won't they?
Yeah, of course. He's Sala in Indiana Jones. He's Gimli in
Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
John Rhys Davies is in everything.
Yeah, absolutely everything. We love John Rhys Davies. I didn't know he was in this film.
No, neither did I.
No, it's a good bit we get.
Surprise reveal.
Bond's also given a gadget from Q here, isn't he? Or is this after this?
Yeah, okay. After he takes the case from M and says, "No, I'll do it. I'll take down General Pushkin.
Yeah,
it's my job, right?"
Yeah, it's my job.
But also because Bond, he feels like something else is up, so he's going to do some investigation. But yeah, he picks up some gadgets from Q, so he gets a key ring that if you whistle, it releases a stun grenade.
A wolf
sort
whistle.
Of gas thing.
Yeah, so he's like.
I think like God Save the Queen does the stun grenade, and then the wolf whistle just makes it blow up.
I thought it was keyed to different people. Like you could have it like this bomb will be keyed to this tune, this bomb will be keyed to that tune.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think.
I'm with you.
I think God Save the Queen is for the stun grenade, and then the wolf whistle just makes it blow up.
Yeah, right. Okay, very funny.
So yeah, it's a keyring. It does that, but also it has a key on it that opens 90% of the world's locks, which seems far too useful to attach to a bomb, if you ask me.
I agree, far too useful. And why only 90%? Is this like a Chekhov shit key? Like we're waiting on it, like not working at some point in the film?
Q is just being realistic, where it's like, look, it'll open most keys, but if he's given himself a margin for error, it's like, well, if it doesn't work, I did tell you it's only 90% of locks.
And
so,
we briefly get another scene with the new Miss Moneypenny, who's just fawning over Bond, but in a really like sappy way, like a really I love you kind of way, like the young office girl.
Also, Q exits the scene by sitting on a couch which eats the previous person who was sat on it, and he's like, haha, I made a couch that eats people. That's what Q's up to.
Absolutely.
Oh, and he has a new car
He
as
gets
well.
a new Aston Martin, the black one. I can't remember its actual designation. I'm sure a listener...
DB7, I think.
Possibly. I love this car, by the way.
It's very nice. It's a lovely car.
A lovely car. I like its gadgets.
We'll get to that, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, so Bond, he goes back to Czechoslovakia, and he's hunting down the cellist that he saw, the sniper cellist.
Yes, he is. Who we know that she lives in an apartment. Oh, by the way,
Oh, we didn't even mention, the milkman he rescued or like captured General What's-His-Face and took him away on a plane. Yeah, that was what happened there.
That was way with all the milk grenades and stuff, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But we go, where are we back in Czechoslovakia? Yeah, we're back in Vienna.
We're back in Czechoslovakia.
We're back in Vienna.
We must be because Saunders, head of Section V, shows up later.
Yes, Saunders, head of Section V, does show up. And Bond, the KGB sort of show up outside the cellist's house and arrest her or something. I'm not quite sure what happens here.
Yeah, I don't know what happens here either, but later on she's just free again, so I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, exactly. The KGB didn't arrest her. Bond gets the cello case, and he's removed the gun. He delivers the cello case to her. I'm very confused.
Well, he checks the gun and realizes that the bullets were hollow, so they wouldn't have actually killed anyone.
Yeah, you're right.
Or something.
Yeah, you're right. But where does he find this again? This is before he goes to her apartment.
Well, she gets picked up on the bus, and she leaves her cello.
Oh, yeah,
on
they're
the
on
bus.
a bus. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because he gets off the bus and goes into like a bus station bathroom, and then like he's making lots of loud noises, and there's a pervert sweeper that like wants to find out what's happening. And yeah.
So yeah, he knows now that she wouldn't have actually killed Koskov, so he tries to investigate. He learns that this is Kara Milvoy is this character's name.
Yes, I just call her Kara, but yeah.
Kara, and she is Georgie's girlfriend.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So thinking on the spot, Bond pretends that he is. I guess he's not really pretending, but yeah, he's a friend.
Yeah, he's a friend of Koskov's. Apparently, that's his cover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he shows up to deliver her the cello case, but he's taking the gun out. Yeah. Bond also has a costume change here. He was in a tuxedo earlier on. Now he's in like a jumper. But the pacing of the film doesn't imply there was any time for him to sit and do a full wardrobe change. So I'm convinced something was cut here.
It's entirely possible.
It's the only way that makes sense in my brain.
But yeah, okay. So, but she's still being watched by like KGB agents. So Bond, they do like a thing where they like pretend that she's at a stand or like a phone booth, but then a bus passes and she's actually in the car with Bond. So
yeah,
good,
very good.
But she wants to go back. She can't leave, and she doesn't get her cello, so they have to go pick up her cello back at the orchestra place.
This is so not worth it. We get a good bit at the end, I suppose.
Yes, there's a couple of good bits with the cello, but when he's shoving it into the car, he's like, "Why didn't you learn the violin?"
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I suppose you're right there. Yeah. Uh-huh. So when we're on the run, Bond's like, "I hope this cello was worth it because it's taking us 10 minutes out of the way we're meaning to be going." But we're being chased by the KGB. But this, by the way, this Aston Martin.
Well, just by the police.
Yeah, just by
I
the
think,
police
because they put out like an arrest warrant.
Yeah. This Aston Martin, by the way, it's the V8. That's it, right?
V8. Okay.
Uh-huh. And what do they call it? It's the Vantage, the V8 Vantage.
Yeah, very nice car.
A very nice car. Now, this car, Kyle, has laser cutter tires.
Yep.
Very
Laser cutter
cool.
rims, because it comes
Yeah.
out of like the wheel.
Yeah, you're right. And it can just completely slice a car in half and completely cuts off the whole wheel and base of the car off from the top chassis. But slapsticky.
I don't know how they do this without like cutting the feet off of like the driver as well.
It must go under the carpet. It must go under the carpet.
Yeah.
But
it's a very good shot because the top of the car just sort of slides off the bottom of the car, and the driver's like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah. Now this car has also got a HUD in the windshield for missile aiming.
This may be the most gadgeted up car we've had so far.
I think so. I really like this car. I think it's really slick with all its buttons and bells and whistles. It's got a whole HUD for missile launchers. It's got the laser rims. It's got so much going on for it.
It's got rocket launchers in the lights,
Exactly.
bulletproof glass. Obviously, that's a given.
That's a given. That's a given. I'm quite enjoying this action sequence, Kyle, because like we make it to like a frozen lake, but the police or whoever have like RPGs, and they're able to get a shot on this car. They're able to take off the wheel, and you think, oh no, that's it for this car. But no, we use the turning axis of the wheelbase.
Oh yeah, they don't take off the wheel. They take off the tire.
Yeah, the tire.
So it's just the rim.
So it's just and he uses
But apparently that rim is razor sharp.
Yeah, he uses it to cut through the frozen lake to surround the police car, so it now will start to sink, which is a good bit.
Yeah, and then to prop up the car again, he deploys like the skis that are on the car.
The car's got skis for some reason. Yeah.
For this exact reason, Q's always on top of this stuff.
Q always knows mission specific details. He's actually clairvoyant. Yeah. But the car, then what do we do here? We do like a boost ramp jet over something.
Yeah, he starts like launching it down the hill, but it ends up sort of banked in the snow.
Yeah, you're right.
So they have to get out. But it's and he blows it up. Rest in peace, spy car.
R.I.P. the V8 Vantage. Really fun spy. I think this might be one of my favourite Bond cars behind like the DB5 at the moment. Brilliant.
Yeah. Q is heartbroken, I'm sure.
I like it more than the Lotus.
I agree. Yeah, it's. I mean, the submarine car pretty good.
Yeah. The Lotus is still good. Yeah, I'm not. Let me not talk smack about the Lotus, Kyle. I'm just saying I enjoy this car and I think I like it more.
They still have to get away, so they decide to ski down the hill in the cello case.
In all good Bond movie fashion, we must ski.
Yeah. And Bond says, "Glad I insisted you brought that cello," which I thought was another good line.
Yeah. And he's using the cello itself almost as like an oar, like if you're in a boat.
Yeah.
And then there's like a border checkpoint in the middle of this national park.
Yeah, once they get past the checkpoint, the police can't chase them anymore because they've crossed borders, right?
Yeah, I don't know why there's a border checkpoint here, but there is. And as they ski through it, they throw the cello up and over the kind of barrier as they glide under it, and they catch it, and Bond says, "We've nothing to declare." This is the best one-liner he's had in the film, in my opinion. I just thought it was quite funny.
It's very funny, yeah. But then we cut to a baffling character in this movie. So
that guy.
General Pushkin is visiting this American general.
Arms dealer.
His name is...
He's not a...
Arms dealer, yes.
Yeah, he's not a general, because he's been kicked out, because Pushkin knows everything about him.
Yeah.
He knows that he's just...
He is dressed in like a military uniform, but it's like a custom tailored military uniform.
Yeah, exactly. It's not of the US. It's just... He likes collecting military dolls and action figures, and... He's Dark Helmet, basically, in Spaceballs. This guy's a joke.
He has we first see him and he's in this big room of like famous dictators, wax models of like Napoleon and Hitler and Caesar and Genghis Khan and all this.
Exactly. It's really bizarre.
And we initially meet him and he's posed like one of them because he's a bit of a joker, this guy.
Yeah, so this is Brad Whitaker, played by John Doe Baker, John Doe Baker's a that guy actor. When you saw this guy, you thought, it's this guy.
Yeah, it's like, I know that guy from somewhere.
Yeah, So, and I know where you know him from, Kyle. We'll see him again. But John Doe Baker is a that guy actor, but he's playing Brad Whitaker in this, and my God, this whole part of the film just doesn't work for me. But, like, it works for me more than what happens later. But I don't care for him at all.
Yeah, he had some sort of deal with Pushkin, but Pushkin is breaking off because... he's up to something sinister with the other Russian general. Yeah,
he doesn't trust them.
Georgie.
Yeah, he thinks that Koskov is up to no good, and he thinks that he's frankly working with Koskov. Money that was sent to him hasn't been spent on anything, because Whitaker's like, I can't cancel the deal now, money's been spent, and Pushkin's quite a smart guy. He knows that nothing's been spent, he knows that he's had all the bank accounts watched. He knows nothing's been moved around.
But yeah, so then we immediately cut to the reveal that actually Georgie is evil and he's working alongside Brad Whitaker.
Yeah, so it wasn't really kidnapping, it was an extraction.
No, it was all staged. Yeah,
all staged. And it's basically there to play the British and the Russians off against each other, whilst this private arms dealer sort of just muscles in the middle.
Yes, that's basically the plan, yes.
Yeah, that's all the plan. There isn't really high stakes in this film.
No, not especially. It's just Bond has to stop a bad person.
Yeah, and then there's an opium shipment, and there's the Mujahideen.
We'll get to the Mujahideen.
Bond is really trying to sell his relationship with Koskov to Kara at this point.
Yes. Well, he takes her on a very romantic date to the fairgrounds.
Yes, doesn't he show him, like, where are they? They're in, like, some lovely orchestra place, some recital place. She's like, I'd love to play here one day, you know?
Yeah. So, somewhere in Europe. I don't know exactly where. There is a place where, and I noted this, they go to a hotel and the person at the desk recognises Bond enough to offer him his usual room.
Oh, yeah, this is in Vienna. Sorry, we're in Vienna.
Yeah, I think we're still in Vienna.
Yeah, right, okay, it's just a very nice place in Vienna. Right, okay. I thought we were in the West for some reason, maybe because she was so optimistic.
No, I think we must be in the West because they crossed borders, right?
You're right.
So I don't know where they are, but Saunders, head of Section V, does show up here later, so I don't know where this is.
I think we're in Vienna. Because I've looked at it in my notes, because later on she gets to play in this place she's always dreamed of playing in, and I've said in my notes that we're in Vienna.
Where were we before then?
I don't know.
I think we were definitely in Czechoslovakia before. Hang on, where is Vienna? It's the capital of Austria. Okay, so we're in Austria.
We're in Austria right now.
Yes.
We've crossed over from
That makes sense,
Czechoslovakia
I think.
into Austria.
Yeah, no, that makes geographical sense.
Right, okay, that's fine. Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're there. So yeah, they go. He buys her like a fancy dress.
Yes. And then like we go to the fairground, like you mentioned, and we're playing games and buying big stuffed toys.
Yes, Bond is clearly seducing this lady.
Yes, he is.
She's falling head over heels for James Bond.
Absolutely, that's what's happening here.
But Saunders, head of Section V, is also here, and he's trying to meet up with Bond, and Bond's like, I'm kind of in the middle of something, Saunders, head of Section V.
Yeah, right. He's like, I'll meet you in the fucking canteen later on with the automatic sliding door with a really aggressive piston.
Not that that's relevant at all.
No, that's relevant. No, it's very, very obviously in shot and looks not real at all. Talk about adding set pieces onto a real place, you know?
There is like a creepy thing that happens here, which he gets Kara onto this Ferris wheel, and then it stops midway up, and it's like, oh, I arranged this. We could stay here all night if you want. Bond, creepy.
It's cold
Coming
also,
on a bit
Bond.
strong here, man.
This is cold up here. You know, you could get hypothermia. You don't want to be up here too long, Bond, especially not with what you want to do.
Also, maybe don't trap a woman in mid-air.
Yeah, this is...
Just in general, it's a bad vibe.
Yeah, this isn't very feminist of you, Bond.
But she's into it, though, so it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though she's technically cheating on her boyfriend at the moment, but also her boyfriend did try to have her killed, but she doesn't know that yet, so, like,
yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is where, like, when we meet up with Saunders, for head of Section V.
Head of Section V, yes.
He clears up that actually Kara was working with Koskov to help him escape and have it look like a accident.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is in my notes where this is the part of the film where I was like kind of, I haven't said some of the things I've written down here where I'm like, this doesn't fucking make any sense. What the hell's happening here? This is the part where some of this gets explained that
yes,
Kara was working with Koskov to make the escape look genuine, but she's obviously not a real sniper. She's actually just his girlfriend. And
that's why he hired Bond, because he'd heard that Bond is a great shot, so he assumed that Bond would kill her and then clear all this up so it would never come out.
Exactly. But Bond, being a nice guy, just knew to not kill her for some reason because it would have scared the living daylights out of her, Kyle.
Bond smelled something fishy was up. He smelled something fishy before we, the audience,
Absolutely. But the reason Bond is still playing around with Kara is to find out what Koskov is up to, you know?
Yes. But Necros is also here.
Necros is here, walking around like fucking Pennywise the Clown with a bunch of balloons.
Yeah, the balloons, yes.
He's just awkwardly walking around.
Yes, I actually looked away for 5 seconds and I missed. He somehow manages to kill Saunders, head of Section V, with the piston-powered door.
So, I'll tell you what happens here.
Okay.
I should note here, by the way, I've said that I've come around to Saunders here. I quite like Saunders. So I think...
He's ingratiated himself to
me. Saunders, head of Section V, I actually came around to quite enjoy. I think Necros uses like the balloons or something, or like plants a little bomb device in the piston mechanism that's obviously somehow outside the building and exposed to the elements. But like it's so that the door sort of ricochets shut and crushes Saunders, head of Section V, as he's leaving the cafe.
Yes.
And it sort of shatters everything. You never actually see Saunders, head of Section V's body lying on the floor. but you know he's dead because the whole door sort of ricocheted closed on him. It's a big heavy piston door with a big metal bloody cylinder in it. But it's very stupid. And then he has Necros has like a balloon calling card.
Yes.
What's on the balloon?
I think it's just like a name. It's like, oh, this was on my list of people to kill,
Right, okay,
or something.
yeah, right, okay.
I did like this moment here because like he loses Necros in the crowd, and then he catches back up the car and he's like, "Oh, did you get a message from Georgie?" And Bond just looks away from her and like extremely serious. Says, "Yes, I got the message."
Yeah.
I just thought it was a good delivery.
Yeah, no, yeah. Timothy Dalton's a very good actor. I'm enjoying Timothy Dalton.
He's really good. Yeah.
We end up in a hotel room.
Yes. So he's now going to interrogate Pushkin to figure out Pushkin's side of the story.
Yes, all we do. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, Pushkin is going up to this hotel room to meet with his mistress, I assume.
Yeah, it's a very strange scene. This is something I don't like that happens in this room. So
okay, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so Bond's like gets on top of him and like holds the gun to his face and is like, "You need to tell him what's going on." And at this point I actually thought Bond was going to kill Pushkin, to be honest. But then
Pushkin hits a little thing in his watch to alert the guards outside.
Yeah, so a guard comes in, but to distract the guard, Bond
rips the shirt off of the mistress.
Yeah, and then like just has her like bare chested, sort of screaming, looking at the door because she's terrified for her life. Well, Bond hides.
Not even screaming. She's just standing there.
She's like whimpering or something. She's not happy anyway. She's pretty distraught at what's just happened to her. She's being assaulted. And Bond just hides behind the door because, like, obviously the guard will be distracted by this half-naked woman just standing there looking really distressed. Like, you didn't need to do any of this, Bond. You could have just hid behind the door, and as the people rush in, you could have just jumped down on them.
It's a great point. No, this was slightly unnecessary, but like, I don't know. It's just part of like, to me, this is part of how Timothy Dalton plays Bond like a professional killer, where it's like there's nothing like sexual about this at all. This is purely like I'm just using this as a distraction. I do not care.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly what's happening here. Yeah, I just think it's quite grim. But Pushkin's now like on side. He's like, if this is what must be done, like they must think I'm dead.
Yeah,
then
this is what I don't understand.
We
is why they need to fake Pushkin's death.
We immediately cut to a press conference after this that Necros is ready to kill Pushkin for real, and Bond is also there, and Pushkin gets up on stage to make a speech, and then Bond just guns Pushkin down, but obviously he has like blood packs and body armor on. So everyone's like distraught, thinking he's dead. And he gets taken away. Everyone thinks Pushkin's dead. And Pushkin like opens his eyes and looks around like a comedian, going, "Oh, I'm not really dead." And like his mistress is sitting there just like horrified. He's a really rough time of it, this mistress.
But you know, it's all worth it because you get to be the mistress of John Rhys Davies.
Yes, you do. You do. Now, two women sort of come up to Bond after this and are like, "You're coming with us," you know, like
he's escaping from the scene.
Yeah, and they offer him a ride.
It's like, "Oh, you want to go for a party with us?"
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'd love to." And then he's like, "Actually, just I'll pay you, but like, just let me out here." And then they pull guns, and it's like, "You're not going anywhere. Like, you're coming with us."
He's like, "Oh, is it not enough? Take it all."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we get taken to like a basement, and there's a man, Kyle.
Oh my god, Nathan, you'll never guess who it is. It's only bloody Felix Leiter number 7.
Bloody Felix Leiter number 7. I can't believe it. This is the most unconvincing Felix Leiter ever.
Oh, this is the worst Felix. This is undoubtedly the worst Felix Leiter. Every single one of his lines sounds like it's dubbed for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to describe it.
This guy also looks like he's just like fresh out of the academy.
Yes.
I don't believe this is a contemporary of Bond at all.
No. It's a real step down because Never Say Never Again was our best Felix Leiter, and now we're pivoting to the worst.
Cal Hudson back then, yeah.
Yeah, he's also like totally irrelevant to the movie. I don't know why he's here. I don't know what he's doing.
He shows up later on as like a command and control guy, but like
he is hunting Brad Whittaker. That's what Felix Leiter is doing here.
Yeah, he is
because he's like a traitor to America.
Yeah, Brad Whittaker's a turncoat.
That doesn't come up again for like another hour of the movie, and Felix Leiter is just here to establish Felix Leiter is here and he's hunting Brad Whittaker.
Yeah, and then we'll see you later, bye.
Yeah, bye Felix Leiter.
So we go up to the hotel room with Cara, who's waiting for Bond, and she gives Bond a drink, and she drugs him.
Yeah, it was a trap. Georgie's hiding behind the door.
Yeah, Koskov and Necros both walk in. And Bond at this point is being like, "What have you done, you stupid girl?" You know, oh, as he's like, slurring his words and falling.
As
to
he's
the
trying,
side.
he's like, you were supposed to be shot. How do you know that? Because I'm the one who was supposed to shoot you.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. So at this point, she's like, "Oh no, what have I done? Like,
Yes.
my boyfriend wanted me to die. This is the man that was sent to kill me, and I've just drugged the only person that could have possibly got me out of this position." But then they take her along for the ride because they're like, "Oh, I guess actually we'll just let you live." Actually,
Well, Georgie's still pretending that like he's in love with her and
Yeah,
stuff at this
I
point.
don't really know
He's like,
why,
oh,
though.
you're my loving girlfriend.
like, is he just this?
Well, he does establish later in the play, because I was wondering this, because this is a classic, why don't you just kill Bond at this point? But Bond does ask, like, why don't you just kill me? And he's like, oh, I'm not a murderer. So, sure.
Mm.
I'm not that's his answer. It's just like, oh, I'm not a savage, Bond. I don't want to kill you.
Which is just it really in keeping with the low stakes of this film.
But I did want to say, so they sneak on board this plane by pretending that Bond is like in for like serious surgery.
Yep.
And like a van.
Yep, they have a organ transplant.
Have an organ transplant. They show briefly his like identity, and they have his name quickly scribbled in as Jersey Bondin, which is it's really incredible
You
stuff.
see what happens when it's not MI6 doing the cover stories for you. You're Jersey Bonding.
Yeah, this is no St. John Smythe.
No, this ain't James St. John Smythe at all. This ain't no way. This is even worse than James Stock.
James Stock, yeah, Jersey Bondin.
Jersey
Yeah.
Bonding.
So yeah, they're all in a plane now, and they discover that like
We should note, by the way, they're hiding diamonds in the ice for the organ transplant.
yes,
I
was going to say that this is part of the plan. This is some sort of diamond smuggling business that they've got going on.
Yeah, they hide diamonds in ice, and the ice is plausibly there because you're trying to keep organs chilled.
Yes. So they fly to Afghanistan, to a Russian air base in Afghanistan.
Yep. Where we meet a Russian prison guard that sounds like he's from Liverpool.
Yeah, so Georgie decides at this point he's going to betray Kara as well and immediately just arrests her too, because I guess he just decides that now.
Yeah, exactly, right? He's like, actually, I'm fed up with your shit. Because at Bond, when he wakes up on the plane, it's like, you need to like get the watch for me because I can do something with my watch. What can he do with his watch?
No, it's keyring. He wants his keyring.
You're right, because it can unlock all the locks.
The one that can open 90% of locks, yeah.
Of course, sorry. And then in the jail...
They go to this prison. It's the Liverpool is like, oh, it's been a long time since I had a woman in the eye.
Yeah, he sounds like he's going to break into fucking, like, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band or something, Like, if I with a little help from my friends. But there's someone else in the jail, and he's a local Afghan man.
Yeah, a local Afghan man he's up for execution in the morning or something.
Absolutely he is. But Bond breaks him out as well.
Yeah, well, he uses the key stun grenade thing with the whistle.
Yep, he does.
He actually tricks them into finishing the whistle, which is kind of funny. But yeah.
But it turns out this guy isn't just any guy, Kyle.
Well, yeah, we learn later, a little later, but there is a good line where they take out all the guards, and Kara's like, we're free! And then Bond just coldly replies, we're in the middle of the Russian air base in the middle of Afghanistan, which is just like... I just think it's a great exchange of like
just perspective.
Bond,
yeah,
just like Bond is taking this much more seriously, and she's like, "Oh, at least we're together." And he just rolls his eyes like, "Terrific."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, brilliant! We're together in the middle of Afghanistan in a Russian Air Force base. We're just currently not inside a prison cell, but we're about to be under fire." Yeah, brilliant.
I really appreciate how Timothy Dalton plays this romance as like he doesn't really care about this woman. Like he doesn't like want her to die. Like obviously he's going to do his job and keep her alive, but he's not like falling head over heels in love with this woman at all. This is just like part of the job.
I think you really nailed it when you said that Dalton just plays it as a professional.
Yeah, he's just doing his job
yeah,
here.
He's not a bad guy, but he's also not like morally good. He's just here to do the work.
Whereas Kara, she's like falling in love with this handsome man. He's like, listen, okay,
I'm not. He looks directly at her and goes, "I'm not Roger Moore." Yeah.
I ain't no lover.
Yeah, I'm on the clock here. I'm getting paid. Yeah, this is a good trade unionist James Bond.
But yeah, they managed to sneak out of the airbase in a stair car. But they get picked up. They immediately run into a trap by the Mujahideen are sitting in the dunes.
Yep, absolutely.
But then the guy from the prison comes out. Is like, no, they're friends. We're good.
They're friends, and turns out the guy they broke out was the leader of the local Mujahideen. But
yes, his name is Cameron Shaw.
Yes, he is Oxford educated.
He's an Oxford man.
He's an Oxford man, and he's very, polite spoken and all, hoity-toity, which is just such a reveal. This is where the film's losing me, by the way, Kyle, because I feel like they acknowledge that they've kind of ran out of stakes to keep stuff relevant, and we're playing for runtime. So there's also going to be a plot about an opium plane. And what were the diamonds for? I thought the diamonds were for the weapons for Whittaker, but no, they're for...
Yeah, okay. So let me explain. So they were originally going to pay Whittaker with the diamonds, with the profit from selling the diamonds, but instead they make a deal with the Mujahideen to trade for opium for the diamonds, so they can make even more profit from the opium as well as buying the guns. So basically, they're just doubling their profit margin by trading the diamonds for opium, because you can sell the opium for more, apparently.
Honestly, Kel, I preferred the steroid horses.
We do get a lot of horses in this movie.
Yeah, they're just not steroid horses.
So yeah, Bond comes up with a plan to stop all of this. He's going to pretend to be one of the opium smugglers, and he's actually going to plant a bomb on the plane.
Yep, you're bang on the money. I'm familiar with this, but then the Afghan are like, we're not giving you any of our men or horses because we're too busy fighting elsewhere at the moment. Look, we can't spare you, essentially.
This is all a very hot button politics at the time, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same era as like Rocky, or Rambo, with the tribute this film to the brave brothers of the Mujahideen. But this is late 80s, that's what this was all about,
Yeah, they were fighting the Russians, so they were the good guys.
Yeah, they were the good guys. They were certainly the good guys. Very topical in today's political climate.
Yes, very, very topical. But yeah, so Bond, he ends up stuck in one of the jeeps, which I thought was the plan, but Kara decides she has to run and rescue him anyway.
Yeah, she decides that she needs to get involved.
She charges in with the machine gun, and then Cameron just looks to his men and goes, "Women," and then decides to chase after her anyway. So I don't know what your motivations are, because you seem pretty insistent on not fighting the Russians before, but now you are.
You're going to, because the protagonists of the movie decided to do it, yeah.
But, I mean, it does lead to, like, what I thought was a fun action sequence where they raid the airbase with, like, jeeps, with, like, diggers and stuff. They run, like, a giant digger into the showers, and you just see some poor naked Russians. Yeah. I'm like, oh no, my shower.
Yeah, that's our limited water supply. Yeah, and then we're met with, like, one of the longest runways in movie history behind Fast and the Furious 9 or whatever that is.
It's very long, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Bond, he ends up, like, he gets caught because Georgie, he sees him coming off the plane. He's like, oh my god, that's James Bond.
Yes, So
Bond's like, fuck, so they just pulls a machine gun, and they don't want to shoot the plane because they don't want to damage all the
don't
goods
want to damage all the opium on board.
So I guess they just have to let Bond steal the plane.
Yep, but we're chasing the plane for a good while, Kyle, with Necros ready to jump aboard, Because Bond is setting a bomb on this flight, Yeah,
he sets a bomb. He takes it off, and then, like, Kara, she's just so in love with Bond that she decides she has to join Bond on this plane.
She's like, I need to get out of Afghanistan.
And I think at this point she just wants to be with James Bond.
So weird.
Well, yeah, because Bond said, you stick with the Mujahideen and they'll get you on a flight back to London or something while I go do this. But she's like, no, Bond, I want to be with you.
Yeah, but you're right. You're bang to rights correct on that. In my notes here, by the way, I've written I'm quite bored.
I kind of like all this action stuff on the plane. I think it's fun.
It's fine. I've got in my notes that it gets good when the plane takes off and Necros and Bond are having the fight on, like, the cargo netting outside the plane.
Yeah, no, the process to get to that is weird. So first of all,
the takeoff's quite fun. The takeoff's quite fun. Sorry, I've missed the takeoff.
Yeah, no, the takeoff's fun because Kara, she gets in a jeep to try and catch up, and she drives into the car, which Bond opens to her because he realizes this woman's not going to leave him alone.
He's like, oh, fine, I guess I might as well try and just help you.
Yeah. Yeah, but then also the last minute, the General and Necros are driving up, and Necros manages to jump off right in the nick of time, and then it really looks like a fatal crash that that Georgie ends up in with a plane where it like
So
blows up. But then he just rolls out and he's fine.
As the opium plane is trying to take off, there's like a Russian Air Force plane trying to land, and Bond's like got to pull up and get the nose of his plane above the landing plane before they crash into each other. And he does it right. I should say the runway stuff's actually probably better than the rest of the base fight, in my opinion. I can remember the runway stuff more vividly. That's why I know it's the longest fucking runway ever. And they get the plane up just in time, but then the propeller from the landing Russian plane smashes right into Koskov's Jeep, and it looks fatal. It looks like he should be dead. This should be an F.
It's a massive explosion.
Yeah, this should be an F. Koskov moment, frankly.
But no, we just cut to him like rolling out of the explosion. He's just got a few burns on him, and it's fine.
Exactly. He's completely fine.
It's weird because like he doesn't need to be alive at this point. He's like served his plot purpose by this point. He doesn't. There's no reason for it to survive this explosion, but he does.
He's just generically alive. Yeah. But Necros is aboard, and he's gonna have a little rustle tussle with Bond at altitude.
Yeah, Bond. I like this sequence on the plane because it's just an eternal sequence of Bond having to keep solving problems. Yeah. Like, because at first, like, okay, we've got the takeoff, cars on board. Let me go defuse the bomb that I planted on the plane earlier.
He's going to look for it in the opium pouches, but then
he gets attacked by Necros, and then Kara, in all her genius, decides to open the back of the plane.
Yep, and she's just sitting in the cockpit screaming because we're also going to head towards like a cliff.
But yeah, so, I mean, it's a really good action sequence. I like it when they're on the bag of opium and trying to kill each other and grab on, and Bond slices it open so that it's just raining opium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now they're like rolling around this netting. Absolutely. Off the plane on the outside.
But eventually, Necros ends up just grabbed onto Bond's shoe, so Bond threateningly cuts his shoelaces so the shoe falls off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's good. And then he gets back to the cockpit and he's like, he got the boot.
F. Necros.
F. Necros. But he doesn't even have time to finish saying he got the boot because he looks over and they're about to run into a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. And Kara's just screaming. Yeah, so we got to pull up. We pull up over that. And now we're just sort of flying around. We're losing fuel fast because there's holes in the fuel tank of the plane. But also the Mujahideen are retreating because Russian tanks are now chasing them.
Well, yeah, he also has to go and, he defuses the bomb with like 2 seconds left on the fuse also. So Bond he's in a high stress situation at this point.
So he drops the bomb on the bridge to separate the Mujahideen from the Russian tanks. He saved the day.
But the plane did take a few hits to the fuel tank, so the plane starts running out of fuel, and there's just a great moment with Timothy Dalton where he just has this face of like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, just cannot catch a break.
He wants to land the plane and be done, you know? Yeah. But, like, Bond's like, there's nowhere to land nearby. Like, we're going to have to,
Yes, I did notice this too.
Yeah, and, like, it's just...
We have to get in the Jeep and sort of, like, jet out of the Jeep.
Because the Jeep's sort of locked in place in the cargo hold because they have these, like, tyre clamps. And there's no place to put down, so we're going to have to, like, have the whole Jeep sort of reverse out with a parachute attached to it, and then we'll land, like, as the plane's about to crash. But then it turns out, actually, we're in the middle of a flat desert with a well-paved road, probably somewhere in Nevada.
Yeah. Could have landed easily.
Could have landed very easily.
But it's fine because they get to jump out and then you see the plane fly into a cliff and
explode. So it's very cinematic to look at. But you could have landed it easily, Bond. That's all the point I'm trying to make. But the film's not over yet.
No. They end up at the signpost and it's like, oh, I know a great restaurant in Karachi. We could just make dinner. Yeah. So, very good. Bond's in high spirits.
Okay, yeah. The Mujahideen subplot has been opened up and closed and the film's not over yet, despite this very much feeling like a third act battle.
Because, Nathan, we do still have to resolve Brad Whittaker. You remember him?
Yeah, Brad Whittaker, that guy actor. Yeah, he's still relevant. That thing with Felix Leiter showed up an hour ago. Yeah.
It kind of feels like he filmed all of his scenes in one day, just in that room.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. His filming day was so short.
But yeah, so Bond decides he has to go kill him, so he's working with Felix Leiter over the radio. Felix Leiter is back.
Yeah, Felix Leiter's just not on scene, but he's command and control. Yeah.
But yeah. And this action scene it's kind of fun and kind of silly, and it's definitely very camp.
Oh, yeah.
Because Brad Whittaker, he comes in, he's playing with his toys. He's like, oh, I'm playing the Battle of Waterloo. I would have done it, so I won.
Yeah, he's like headcanning his own, like, yeah. Yeah, do you know most of the British Army was like Prussian privateers, actually?
Yeah.
Whitaker's just playing with his doll. This is why I say he's like Dark Element, because like he's just sitting in a room playing with dolls, being interrupted. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, he's also an arms dealer, so he pulls out some like weapons.
And
he has like body armor that Bond can't hit, and like a face shield.
Yeah, he's looking at a machine gun with bulletproof glass on it. He has a remote control that he can control a doll that has an old colonial cannon on it that fires real shots into his living room.
Yes. Like, I do not get the impression this guy is very sound of mind, okay? So this makes perfect
he's crazy.
sense.
So Bond's sort of running around hiding from him, kind of taking cover behind artifacts, and then places the whistle bomb onto a bust of General Lord Wellington of Waterloo fame.
Yes.
And as he gets closer to it, he's like, "Oh, hiding behind old Waterloo, are you? Or old Wellington, you know?" Or something like that. He says something to that effect.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Bond does the wolf whistle, and the whole bus sort of falls down comically on top of Whitaker and just crushes him.
He falls into one of his little battle displays.
Yeah, I think it was the Battle of Waterloo, funnily enough.
Yeah, I think so.
I just found the urgentness and the way it was shot and the way they cut it in the editing bay, it just all happened so fast. It was just very funny.
Yeah, he just dies instantly.
Yeah, he's such a nothing villain.
Yeah, and then remember Pushkin, he comes back. He's back in the scene now.
He comes to save Bond's bacon because something else was happening to Bond at this moment, right?
Yeah, Georgie comes in with a gun.
Koskov
He's like, "Oh, I'll kill you now, Bond."
Yeah. Maybe that.
And then he tries to spin into Pushkin. It's like, "I caught this British spy. You know, I've been rescued." And then Pushkin's like, "No, you're going to jail, friend."
For some reason he thinks that Pushkin's a fucking idiot. Yeah.
Yes.
So Koskov is taken into custody, and also Pushkin decides that despite the fact that Kara is also technically a traitor to the state, he's not wrong. He decides to let her be free because she's hot enough for Bond.
It's a favour, you know.
So we get to cut to Kara having her dream of performing in Vienna, in Austria.
Including her cello that has a bullet hole in it, which I'm pretty sure would ruin the sound of a cello, right? Because the whole point is it's got like a big box, and that's where the noise box.
You have other bits there that are just there for style. Maybe it was a complete vanity bit that it went through, right?
Maybe, I hope so, because she does still have a bullet hole in her cello while she's playing in this orchestra.
Well, apparently it's a very nice cello. Like, it's a very expensive and nice and rare cello.
But for some reason, this is also a meetup of like the Secret Services.
Everyone's here to watch this performance.
Coming to this show, yeah. M is here. I think we see Q is in the background as well.
Everyone's here to watch, and at the end, M's like, "Hello, Miss Kara. You know, would you like to meet, General Gogol from the Foreign Service?"
My good friend, General Gogol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, General Gogol. I love how much he's been in these films.
I can't believe that he's one of the most consistent characters, General Gogol. Yeah.
It's very unexpected. You know, you never think of the Russian recurring character.
But yeah, he's moved to the Foreign Service, so I guess Gogol's, he's pretty much planning to leave the USSR himself at this point, I think.
Yeah, he's just a diplomat now. Yeah.
He's been fully corrupted by the West.
Yeah, he's fully corrupted by Bond. He spends too much time with MI6. Nice to see him, but this is his only part. This is his only scene in the film. It's a nice little cameo.
Yes. Even more shocking than Gogol is Cameron Shah shows up with his men all decked out in guns.
The Mujahideen arrive in Vienna, which is really fighting on foreign soil.
And they're like, "Oh, we had some trouble through customs," and M's like, "Oh, I wonder why."
I can't imagine why. Yeah. And then she's like, "Where's Bond?" And he's like, "Oh, Bond's on assignment. He couldn't be here." And she's like, "Oh, okay," or whatever. And then she goes to her dressing room. And oh my God, there's Bond.
He's got a romantic dinner set up.
So they have a little kiss, and he said, does he have like a final line?
I think he just says he would never miss this show or something like that.
And then the camera sort of pans down to the floor, and there was a song from Pretenders by If There Was a Man. I can't say I was really familiar with this song. And then we just fade into the credits, and James Bond will return. No film title yet.
Indeed, we don't get to know what the name of the next movie is anymore.
I should note this is the last Bond movie until 2006 Casino Royale that is named after an Ian Fleming story.
Interesting. Okay, it's not a very good name. I would say The Living Daylights. It's like
I feel nothing. I feel no negativity towards it.
Yeah, I feel no negativity. It's just nothing positive about it. It's like a very forgettable name to me.
I kind of like it, but maybe it's just because even though this is my first time watching this film start to finish, I've always kind of grown up with these movies being really on the edge of the Bond I watched because I was a Brosnan kid. So I can't judge it as like a individual thing. I'm just so aware of it as being related to my childhood.
This is our what's the Doctor Who, the movie version of
Paul
Doctor Who
McGann.
that came
This is
before?
our Paul McGann.
Paul McGann. This is our Paul McGann. Yeah.
This is exactly the best way of putting it. Yeah, this is our Paul McGann Bond.
Anyway, I like this movie. I think this was a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's.
I know you're not a big fan of the Afghanistan stuff. I just
think
know.
this film really lacks stakes. Like I think it's a very good. It's a very good episode of a Bond TV show.
Sure. I mean, I guess that's how I'm considering all these movies.
Like, I suppose that's fine, you know, if you want to view it as a TV, but I just think that the stakes are quite low, which you don't need to be rock solid. I'm just questioning why there was a 00 agent sent to do this. It's just a bit of an arms dealer that with a bad Russian general. I don't even really know where the British Secret Service have a relevant role to play here, except that they helped extract.
I feel like that's the case with half of these movies.
Sometimes, like back, in the 70s and all that, there's like this or especially in the 60s of like British Empire. Of course, Britain are going to have a role to play in this. I just think that at this point, I just don't feel it. There's nothing in this film to me that I'm sold on. Like this really should be more of a Felix Leiter story.
Not this Felix Leiter, Jesus.
No, not this Felix Leiter. Okay, I suppose so. But I just don't see what Bond's doing here. I don't feel the stakes. There's no threat to Queen and Country. It's just that one scene where they extract him to Britain and then he's kidnapped from Britain, where it maybe feels like it's the UK's responsibility to try and get him back, though not get him back because it turned out he's a bastard. But then we decide to also take this pivot into the Mujahideen in Afghanistan to extend the runtime of the movie for artificial reasons. Whittaker's really boring and is a complete nothing burger. Like I say, I like the first half more than like the second half, right? And I think the more the film explains of itself, the worse it gets. I think it doesn't have any satisfying answers to its premise. It's some fun action and Timothy Dalton's really good. That's the highlights of it.
Fair enough.
That's how I feel about The Living Daylights.
I don't mind having a lower stakes movie. I think that's fine every once in a while. I think this movie feels a little more grounded than some of the previous ones.
Yes, it does.
It's definitely a deliberate tone shift from like we're not doing space lasers anymore. We're not doing any of that. We're keeping it more real.
Yeah, no, and these are all positives, and I would agree with you. That's why I do like half of this film, you know?
Yeah, especially when the last movie had super soldiers as the main villain, so...
Yeah. I'll take super soldiers over Mujahideen opium shipments. Yeah. But that was it, Kyle.
Anyway,
that was The Living Daylights.
The Living Daylights.
Kyle, where can the people find you online?
The people can, of course, find me at Kyle the Scot on YouTube, where I do video essays and game critiques. I just finished my Assassin's Creed series, so you can watch all 16 hours of that now. Very exciting.
That'll be a fun compilation video when it's done.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Nathan, where can the people find you?
Kyle, the people can find me online as always on all social media hosting services. You'll find me on Twitter, you'll find me on Blue Sky, Mastodon. Wherever the people want me to be, that's where I will be. I also run our @NameNoIncluded Twitter account for Enter the BondVerse. Give us some love over there and I'll be sure to post there a little bit more often. Also, of course, I'm in Kyle's comment sections on the odd occasion when I have something funny to say. We have an entire back catalogue, Kyle, don't we, of podcasts?
We do.
We've done all of the DCEU of its time. You know, all of Zack Snyder's stuff with DC. Enter the DCEU. That was fun. Enter the Snyderverse. It was the name of that show. You can listen to all of that. We have Enter the Foxverse. Yeah, back when they made sense. We have all of the Fox X-Men era movies. We had a great fun doing that. That's an entire back catalogue for you to go to. And listen, there's just so much Bond stuff now as well. We're over halfway, but there's still so much behind us and we've got so much to go. Thank you,
madness,
everyone. Kyle, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening, you know, and you can hear us next week for, Kyle, A License to Kill.